I'm going to work on some input today, I think. So some kind of input controller that just shoots out subscriptions or event signals all over the place. And then anything that wants to use it will just subscribe to the event. So that's the idea. We got input system actions. I'm going to generate the C# class. Let's just check it out, get it in here. Right. This is a lot of stuff that I don't think I need. Previous, what button is this? Doesn't say. Oh, nah, that's what we do. Left stick in the gamepad. Now, for now, I think just maybe delete everything, and I can add it in myself. Oh, that's kind of cool. Any. Cancel. It's any as well. All right, there's some interesting stuff in here for the UI. Has gamepad navigation, which I don't know. This is just going to be the mouse, I think. Yeah, I'll add in gamepad stuff after. Not really sure. I'll get rid of submit and cancel. I'm not sure how to use this. It's maybe just when you use the input dot point or however it is you use it again, it just gives you the position of the mouse, which okay. I guess that's input dot get mouse position or something like that. So this is the new way of doing it. Okay. Click, right click, middle click. Okay. Tracked device position. I don't know what these are, so I'll just delete them. Let's not bog it down. Oh yeah, I don't know if you still have to, but you used to have to click save all the time. It maybe automatically does it now for you. Okay. I guess it automatically saves now. Let's make a script. Input controller. And this is sort of the middleman between the input system actions and your scripts, I guess. So this is a bit, I'll need to try and remember how this all works. Maybe get some documentation up at some point. I think I'll need some kind of way of accessing the input actions. Input actions. I think we need to activate it somehow. I think it's called UI enable. Is that it? Enable. Yep, let's just enable. And then on destroy, I'll add disable just in case we need it. Then inside here, you will I think in here you subscribe to the actions. So what do we have? Click. Dot. So when we click, we do this thing. On left click. Let's get rid of update. Oh no, I think I'll need that for maybe the... No, I probably shouldn't need that for the mouse position. Maybe I will, I'll leave it. Okay, so private void on left click, we do something. So here we add our own actions. We will do public static, just do an action on left click. This can just be left click to show that you have left clicked. And then up here we'll do on left click. Simple as that. Now is that all? I will test this. So in here, instead of doing this sort of nonsense now, you can subscribe to input controller dot on left click. And then make sure to, on the exit state, to actually unsubscribe input controller dot on left click minus on left click. So now this is where your left click code would go, and it just makes things a lot neater, and it uses the new input system, which is quite nice. And we also don't run as much code in update, which is always good as well. So now this should work just normal, and as long as we're subscribing and unsubscribing, you can come in and out of this state as much as you want, and it should be fine. So let's do the same thing when you enter the state. Just make sure I did it. No, I did it under, which is bad. On left click plus equals on left click. Oh, hold on, we don't need a left click for perform move. Wrong one. It was select and another state, battle state, select action, this here. So when we enter the state, we will subscribe. I'm saddened by the lack of autocomplete. Override the exit state because we want to unsubscribe. That's insanely important. The number of errors I've had in the past because I just forgot to unsubscribe. Then you just rip this out. This one. on left click, do the thing. We can get rid of that. So I'm going to add the input controller to the game controller because input is something we'll always want. It's not going to be battle specific. Do I need to attach the input actions? So how do I get this? I don't think, yeah, you can't attach it. There's no way of dragging it in. Let's check what it said about example code. An example way of using it. Private. Oh, you just create a new one. That's what it was. And they've done it differently. Add callbacks, this. Extract action map. Oh, it's dispose, you don't just disable. I see. Enable dispose. Maybe disable then dispose. No. Dispose the whole thing rather than just the actions. Alright, input actions equals input system actions new, right? Create a new class. Get rid of the serialize, we don't need it. So we make a new object, enable the UI portion of it, and then set up the subscriptions. And we'll maybe just add in some safety clauses. So be a private bool is active. I feel like making this static might be a way of doing it, and then having maybe some kind of function. So my thinking for this is it might be an easy way of just deactivating all input. So if there's a cutscene or if you're in between states or something, we don't want input. Although I guess that's kind of handled anyway by turning on and off or subscribing to events. So this, I guess this is unnecessary. We don't need that. If someone can control If someone is supplying input when you don't want it to, that means you've probably forgotten to unsubscribe from an event or something like that. So it should be fine. Okay, I think this might be working. Select action. So when we click now, it will change to the select move position. And when we click, it should run the code to actually move or tell us we've clicked somewhere we shouldn't have. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's a great example of why we skip a frame when we begin a state. So what's happening here is I'm clicking, which triggers the first part, which says move into the select move position state, but we're still on the same frame, which means it still registers my click as being down. So as soon as I click, it automatically moves to the position where my mouse is. So the fix for that is to allow the state a second just to skip a frame. I'll move this down a bit just to get it out of the way. It's kind of in the way where it was. And I like to have the on enter and on exit up at the top. Purely a hierarchical sort of structured thing. Doesn't actually change anything. Refresh I like down at the bottom for some reason. Okay, so select action as well. We'll just put that in its own enumerator. Let it skip a frame and then subscribe. When Xing, we probably want it to do it immediately. So that's fine. Now let's see if that's made a difference, which I think it should have. So we click and it lets us choose. Beautiful. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Is this not doing what I think it should? So we enter this and that's fine. On left click. I was very confident about this. On left click, change the state. Okay. When we change state, maybe it's this code that's to bugger. So we hold on. Select move position. We do that. We yield return null. I wonder if the state machine is at fault because it just exits and enters as is. Hmm. Let's turn all of this into IEnumerators and do some yield return, but wait for it to process. I don't know, I thought that should have worked. So if I click here and then let go, it's the letting go that seems to trigger the next part of the movement. Is it the input controller that's screwing me then? Click, click. Left mouse, left button. Left button down or left button? I guess it does state click. Pass through. For, for every value change or any bound control the action will perform. That's not really what we want. Button. Button action will start when a button is pressed and perform when the press threshold is reached. It will cancel when the button is going below the threshold. If a button is already pressed when the action is enabled, the button has to be released first. Okay, let's try that. And yeah, probably same with this. Click and then release. Click. Okay, that's maybe the problem solved. So thankfully it wasn't a code issue. That was probably my fault for not really going through this and setting up myself. Just going with what they had. So if I click and then let go, okay, nice. I'll click again and it moves. Phew. So what else do we have? Let's just start filling in the controls. So we do have a right click. So inputactions.ui.rightclick.performed, and we'll do right click performed. Generate a method, and we'll do exactly the same thing. Right click, private void, right click, on right click, invoke, and then just make another one. So select move position, we've got a right click in here. It's this bit here. So we just do the same thing. Subscribe to the right click. And I will keep it inside the coroutine because I do think it's probably better practice to let the clicks settle before you start doing other things. generate method, but move it back down. So we just rip the code out, and I don't think we need it to say on right click anymore. There we go. I'll give it, is that the only place I've been using right click so far? So if I click and then right click, there we go. We've got the same functionality back, but using the new input system. It's a beautiful thing. What is next? So, what is the point? What's point? It's not really performed, is it? You can't perform a point. Maybe just read value. Hmm. Read value. I'm not sure. I don't know. What do you want from me? Doing this probably means I'll need to make this singleton or something, just so that things can access the mouse position. Maybe I'd rather use the old method for that. Then again, I don't think I need to. If I've got buttons here, that can handle the input. So how do I want to handle movement and end turn? Is this where I start adding in skills? Okay, I'll end this video here and just make it the input controller, I guess. And then I can move on to the next thing.